Good Friday evening to you. We've got a special conversation with a guy who's put in a lot of time.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
All right, for those of you who are every night viewers, the last couple of nights we kind of revisited some of the conversation from the previous week on the politics of the 2 weeks. There's some downtime. It's called vacation time for some of us, even on this busy DNC week. But we're back here with an original program tonight with our guest from Monday night, one of them, Joe Trillo, who is the honorary chairman of the Trump campaign. But this conversation will be a lot more about the legislature, what he's learned, his experiences, the best times, the not so best times, because Joe has decided that he is not running for re-election. We will pick up with the convention coverage. Now, Hillary spoke last night, right? So we will pick up with that discussion and a recap of that on the Monday program. All right, so there you have it. Let's go to the headline that causes us to say, hey, Joe, you want to stick around and have a conversation with us? Longest-serving Rhode Island House Republican will not seek re-election. And we welcome back Joe Trillo to the broadcast. How are you, my friend?
Good to be here.
Good to have you stick around from our, and by the way, FYI, if we talk about some things contemporary with this week, this program was recorded on Monday afternoon. Who knows what can happen in Rhode Island over the course of a full week, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Things are fast moving.
Right, especially with some of the stuff that could happen at the convention.
Your experience, let's talk about the contemporary stuff right now. Your experience as the honorary chairperson of the Donald Trump campaign has been what for you?
It's been very exciting. I've been honored to serve in that capacity. We've got a lot of support in Rhode Island for Trump. And you know, when you're the chairman, not everybody, but a lot of people come up to you and tell you, you know, I've been a lifelong Democrat. I got to tell you, I'm supporting Donald Trump. Can I get a sign for my lawn? Can you do this? Can we? Or they all have suggestions. They think I talk to Donald Trump every day of what I should tell him he should and shouldn't say and how we should run the campaign. But so it's been a change from being involved in Rhode Island politics, being involved in a national presidential race at this level.
How many times have you talked to Donald Trump?
I've only talked to Donald Trump about 3 times so far. They've been good conversations, but I don't talk to him every day. I talk to the campaign and the people that head up the campaign.
This is one of the big mysteries for the national press, trying to figure out how deep the Donald Trump campaign actually is. How deep is it? When you say you talk to the campaign, I mean, how many folks before it's the kids? You know, it doesn't feel like it's a traditional presidential campaign where there are layers of bureaucracy that are built in by this time. Yes? No?
There are. This campaign right now has been running very lean.
That's what I mean. This one is much leaner than traditional presidential campaigns,
and
which might come back to bite them. But anyway, your reflection.
Well, I think it's been in all honesty, a process of we can't spend too much money, and we're not going to spend it in the states where they're not going to carry a lot for us.
So you don't have to name names, but who do you talk to at the campaign level?
I talk to people who are the head of New England, that sort of stuff. They're on a talking level with the chairman of the party. I mean, the chairman of the Trump campaign,
yeah.
Manafort, or it used to be Corey Lewandowski. Corey Lewandowski's assistant, I have talked to. But those are the kind of people that we talk to.
Did you feel at the convention a little fracture going on inside the campaign with the Melania episode? Because here you got former Lewandowski more or less putting current Manafort on the hot seat, saying, you know what, if he approved it, he's got to go. A little bit of, right?
A little bit. But Corey Lewandowski wants to see Donald Trump elected as president, really, really bad. So he's not bitter at all. He was there through the whole convention. He spent a lot of time with his own delegation, New Hampshire. But I didn't get any animosity that he's carrying anyway.
So what's your sense? The family calling a lot of the shots when it comes right down to it?
I think his closest advisors would probably be, other than his campaign manager, Paul, I think he thinks a lot of him, takes a lot of advice from him. but I think his daughter is probably his number one critic, his number one supporter, and probably his number one advisor, along with Donald Jr. I mean, if you heard Donald Jr. speak at that convention, I think he delivered the best speech of anybody that spoke at the convention.
Yeah. No, he was impressive. I'm not sure the bar was that high, to be honest with you, but he was the best. You know, the media at these conventions wants to make it a news story, and they get very excited by the electricity. We talked about on the Monday program how electric conventions are.
It was.
You know, Donald Jr. I thought was excellent, but not world-breaking. I mean, not world-breaking.
Oh, I disagree with you.
Tell me what theme you came away with, other than say, boy, was he impressive, and he did a great job as his father, and he laid out some policies. But you know, what theme did you walk away from to be able to point back to the Donald J. Jr. Trump speech? Not only that he did well, but what do you remember it from? There's nothing you remember it from. You can't point. You couldn't pull it out if you tried.
Oh, he outlaid his father's points out in terms of.
I get that. He was excellent at that.
And he was excellent at it.
But there was no theme.
You have to realize he's not.
You know, at the top speeches,
he was not
leave a
an
theme.
elected politician. He wasn't used to delivering a speech in an audience of 15 or 20,000 people,
Right.
let alone the national television audience. To get out there at that level and deliver that kind of a speech, when you had all these seasoned politicians going before him over and over, who gave some pretty nice speeches. I mean, Rudy Giuliani was spectacular. He was spectacular. I think Donald Trump was better.
You know what's interesting, and I've been through this, having been to a handful of conventions myself. What you feel in the building can be very different from what you feel on the television.
It's very different.
Rudy Giuliani looked like he lost his mind at the end of that speech.
He didn't. But you know what, you're right, because what happens is I would go back to my room and watch some of the stuff that would happen. Are you impressed with the fact I said you were right?
No, I'm impressed with the fact that my director just almost spit up over my Giuliani commentary. If you think you're with Trump, you should stay. Let me tell you something. The politics that I have to deal with outside this show or inside this show.
It's good for you.
It's absolutely great. You know, but every once in a while they spit up over what I say. That's all. You think everybody go, oh yeah, Dan. Oh yeah, Dan. It's like, York's here. You know, what are you gonna do?
Well, I think the position you've taken, I think you're softening a little bit on Trump. That's my sense. You're not an easy guy to
What,
soften.
I bring you in for psychoanalysis
Well,
now?
yeah, you need a little psychoanalysis.
You want to write me a script
once in a
too?
while. No, you don't work off a script. I know that.
No, I
The
said
same
you want
way
me
I
to
do.
write. You gonna write a
yeah.
prescription
Yeah,
for me
maybe-
as well?
Maybe a
Gee,
little.
thanks, Dr.
Ritalin
Trillo. Oh, it's good to hear. I'll be okay. It's so funny. But you know, look, at the end of the day, you have. It's a nice signature for you and your elected career to be the honorary chairperson, because this conversation I thought should be more about you and what you're experiencing. Did you raise your hand for that? Did they come and recruit you for that? Or what
Actually,
was going on?
I went after it. I actively went after it. And I called out a lot of friends in Washington and, you know, guys like Michael Steele, guys like Ken McKay. Those are the people who...
Michael Steele is a former lieutenant governor in Maryland and has been RNC chair.
Yeah, right.
And Ken McKay is a Rhode Islander who used to work for Governor Carcieri on a very high level and now is very well known on the Republican side
Right.
and is working for Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, which is, I would love to have Kenny back in here and have a good debate. He likes a good battle himself.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
He's good.
he does.
He's good.
What do you think on the Trump thing? What do you think drove such a high local response, at least in the primary season?
I think the way Donald Trump reaches the people, it's incredible the way he brings the conversation to a level that people understand.
Specifically here,
Specifically in Rhode
Yeah.
Island, just his independence against the political establishment. You know, he doesn't want to continue to do business as usual. I think the people in Rhode Island are tired of that. And that is shown by the amount of Democrats that are tired of it too. You know, I keep saying to these Democrats, what are you waiting for to leave the party? Especially the Rhode Island Democrats. And they will say to me, yeah, but it's a one-party state. I get that. But when are you going to finally say it's time to give it up with the Democrats? Because they no longer represent the working people in this state or the working people in this country. The Democrats are all about taking care of the people. So if you're needy and you need a paycheck from government, the Democrats are for you. If you're illegal and you're an immigrant in this country, you need the Democrats because that's where they're building their constituency. And they've built it up quite a bit. I'm not sure we can defeat it. So it's us against them. It's the makers, the Republicans, the people who make the tax dollars, and it's the takers, the Democrats, who take the tax dollars. So the Democrats are the takers, the Republicans are the makers.
But sometimes you got to work with the takers if you think you're going to make anything in this place. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Joe Trillo is my guest, the state representative for 16 years out of Warwick, a successful business guy, and finally has decided to get out. You should have been a fly on the wall during the break here. We were still talking about Giuliani, and you're saying I don't like people who yell. I mean, you're accusing me of being a guy who yells on the radio. Not so much anymore. He says, since I got gray hair, I don't yell anymore. There's nobody who has broken the decibel meter more on the floor
And
of
I'm
the General,
paying for that
the
right
General
now.
Assembly than you.
Can you hear my voice? I'm paying for that.
Well, I don't think you've
'Cause
lost it. I think it's always been
it's
at
always
that
been a
raspy
little
level.
raspy, but now it's really, I think I've burnt the course.
I don't do impressions very well. My colleague Matt Allen at WPRO is incredible at it, but most people say I do. The best one I do is you.
And I laugh every time you do it.
It's like, man. Anyway, you decided that you weren't going to run anymore. Why?
16 years is a long time, and I felt that I made my contribution. I got into this with an intent of, can I make a difference as a businessman getting involved in politics? I think I have made a difference. I feel good about my career. I never got in it to make laws. I think we have too many damn laws on the books right now. If I could go in and get rid of 50% of them, I would, especially regulations. So it was never about making laws. It was about, for me, it was always about stopping the laws as much as I could, the craziness in them, and that's where I felt my purpose was. Example being the fire code. We passed the fire.
I feel a kinship to you because we worked
We
hard
worked
on that
hard
together.
on that. We worked hard.
You worked hard on it, but I covered that thing, and
You did.
the response to the station nightclub fire is what we're talking about here. And Joe, because he had an alarm business and had a specific,
And I knew the code.
and you knew the business, you made that a project and a half, and you did a good job chasing down what was the pendulum swing in reaction to the station nightclub fire, where it choked just about every business, church, and anything else that had a structure in the state, right?
And we did succeed in making some modifications to the code.
Right.
Most of them came too late for the carnage that the code actually did.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember Narragansett Pellet? You got involved in it. We went to the plant.
Yeah.
The fire marshal in East Providence succeeded in putting out of business a $5 million operation. They ruined a guy. They ruined a family over the fire code. And I tried to help. You tried to help. But by the time the modifications came in, we couldn't help. And there was a lot of carnage. I mean, the Route 44, that club that was up there that now became a church. I'm trying to think of the name of it. They had a lot of dinners, and it was a place to go for an inexpensive.
You know what? It's getting to the point now where I become a real Rhode Islander. I can't remember the name of anything. Is what used to be. I'll think of the family name in just a second.
But we caused.
They went to Massachusetts actually with the golf course at Highland. I think is what they originally purchased. But it was the 1025 club. All right. Yeah. They shut them down.
Shut them down.
Yeah.
And they sold the building. It became a church. It was okay. They didn't have to have a sprinkler system because then it was a church, and we had made modifications to the ruling about that. So one of the things that the Democrats have done in this state that have caused so much havoc is they've had a liberal agenda. They make all these rules and regulations that are just crazy. They're crazy, trying to adhere to all the rules and regulations that we have out there.
You would have had a competitor in this race, correct?
Yes. I would have had a union attorney who makes
His name again is
Evan Shanley.
Yeah, okay.
Who makes his living defending union people, teachers, firefighters.
Big voting block.
Big voting block, but I'd have killed him. In my district, I just polled my district. 85% of my people said they think the unions have too much influence.
So that's an emphatic the defense of your stature there. So it really wasn't fear of failure.
No, not at all.
It was just you were tired.
I just felt like a little bit.
People don't know you're in your 70s.
I am.
Yeah, I mean but you act like a young man, but you're in your 70s.
I still can jump around pretty well
Yeah.
physically.
Not the 70s the 70s is the old 60s. I get it.
Yeah.
We're talking about electing two people. One of them's going to be 70 when they get elected.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I'm not saying you're too old to run, but sometimes you got to say, you know what, I want to chill a little bit.
And that's what it's been. It's like I want to take some time off, and I want to relax and see what it is to relax. I'm not good at relaxing.
No. Did the politics make you chippy? Because you have, and I'm not going to dig into this because everyone's got six sides of a story, but you've had a couple of skirmishes in the real world out there, where you became a story other than politics.
Right.
And people would say, you got to understand this guy Trillo, he loses his mind, blah, 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 da, da, da. And, I've always known you to be temperamental. I've always known you to be fair. I also know when you've lost your temper, it doesn't take more than a couple, 3 days for you to kind of regroup. And you're a people, you like people. That's always been I've known you for a long time.
I like people.
You like people.
But I don't like to be abused. If you would try to abuse me, then watch out, because I'm going to rip you up and down.
Okay.
Okay? If Ted Cruz would have walked in front of me after he came off the stage, trust me, it would have been a headline in Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah, not physical, but I'd have ripped him apart verbally. I'd have ripped him apart. And because I just felt he abused the whole system. I mean, I've ripped the Speaker of the House apart on the House floor.
I understand that.
The Fox called me
I
a
guess
bully.
my question was, did some of the momentum and adrenaline and temperament stuff as a fiery state rep bleed over into your personal life, and you just want to?
I've always been a fiery guy.
Yeah.
This didn't come in, so that bled over into my political life. My fieriness.
Okay.
I'm the kind of guy that if you try to hurt me or do something that I think is bad. I had a tenant that I was evicting that poured oil on my property. Then he called the 2 TV stations. Do you know how many times tenants come up to me? I got 2 evictions right now. I've got in the hands of lawyers. They come and they threaten me. We're going to call the press on you. So it's like, let me get this straight. You don't pay me the rent for 4 months, and now you're going to call the TV stations.
Well, you're a public figure, and sometimes they try to take advantage.
And what happens is that I've had that threat given to me over 16 years many, many times. But you know what? You could never threaten me or scare me, because that would never stop me. You know that.
Did you calm down here at the end and play a little too much patsy with the House leadership?
Play a little patsy? No, never played patsy. What I did do is I showed deference to a guy that I thought was a good speaker amongst all the other speakers I served under.
Nick Mattiello.
And let me give you this, okay? Watch out what you wish for.
I hear you.
Okay? Because if we lose Nick Mattiello, what's lurking in the wings, I'm talking about a potential progressive again, will set this state back 10 years from where it is right now.
All right. Well, we'll talk about where we're going when we come back. Stay with us. Outgoing State Representative Joe Trillo is my guest. He's the honorary chairman of the Trump campaign. And believe me, on that level, Joe's going to come back often. It's not like, goodbye, Joe. In fact, I think once Joe is no longer an elected official, it'll be interesting to have him come here and actually speak his mind. Which would be, Because it's tough to get it
It
out
is
of you.
tough. It is
It's
tough.
hard to
It is
draw
tough.
it out of you.
It is.
Highlight of your state representative 16-year career?
Oh, I don't think there's any one thing I would point to as a highlight, as much as being involved in and working with, to like the fire code as an example.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that happened, because I was in the security business, when I got to the State House, there was no security in the State House. There was one Capitol policeman, no metal detectors, no cameras, nothing. And I'm looking around, I'm saying, we're like sitting ducks over here. There's no security. So I took that on as a project, and when you go to the State House, everything you see there was because of my heading up a committee to put security in State House.
Don't want you to sing for Sinatra, but regrets, do you have a few?
Not a lot of regrets. No, I really think, regrets. I supported separation of powers. I think it was a mistake in hindsight.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
because we took reps and senators off these boards and commissions, and we had 38 studios. I was on economic development before 38 studios. You'd have never had it if I ever knew for 1 second that a guy like Kurt Schilling was going to get a $75 million loan.
I always wish that you Republicans were tougher in the follow-up on 38 Studios, even to this day, demanding the right kinds of hearings and the right kind of accountability. It's been a slow drip, right?
Well, you hear that there's all this other stuff happening, and a lot of it was, can we actually have one more investigative body? I mean, it supposedly is being investigated every way known to man. So we keep waiting, and let's see what that investigation yields. Let's see what comes out of the court situation.
So on Monday, you and Brandon Bell, the state GOP chairman, and I talked about Brandon's speech, and the roll call, which was so controversial back here. The corruption speech, all that kind of thing. In the minute that we have left, do you have a good feeling on your way out that the culture here will inevitably change?
Nothing is going to change until we get a better balance of Republicans and Democrats. Nothing. You can have all the good government legislation passed.
Why is the party so important? Why
Because you need the soldiers on the floor that can stop the nonsense, so that the Democrats can't feel as though they can get anything passed they want to get passed.
And by the way, Democrats are evolving. This is what Joe alluded to. I only have less than a minute here, but if Speaker Mattiello loses election, and he could, John DeSimone could be the next House Speaker, maybe, and a lot of people think he's rough around the edges, but the left movement here in this state could revenue and taxes to kingdom come.
Correct. John DeSimone is relatively conservative also, so I wouldn't be that afraid of him, but I certainly would be afraid to see this pendulum swing to the progressives, and they're out to take over the speakers.
Well, listen, my friend, 16 good years. We've had our ups and downs, but I tell you, I admire you terrifically, and I thank you on
and I
behalf of the
admire you
constituents.
too.
And we'll talk more, certainly as the Trump thing comes on, since you are the chair. All right, good to see you. All right, we'll be right back with a final word. Stay with us.